how do you define learning? I know this is a question that you're asking people who come on your show. Um, yeah, how do you define it? I'm very curious to hear your answer.
Thank you for asking me the question. Uh, for now, I will borrow some words from my research, but I know Jeff has already adapted this definition by Ambrose et al. In her book, How Learning Works. She does a pretty awesome 40-minute workshop on that book that's available on YouTube that I'm happy to forward you if you like. But she defines learning as a process of change, changes that involve beliefs, behaviors, attitudes, and knowledge, and that learning is something that no one can ever do to you, but that you really ultimately have to do yourself. So one goal of the mission code is the sooner you realize that you have to teach yourself, in a sense, the more agency and efficacy you'll have as you try to navigate your courses with meaning, with confidence and significance. And that's not easy because, at least in STEM education, it really does feel like an information dump, um, like a really, really big information dump. um, I always, you know, tell my friends like I'm lucky if I understand 5 minutes of lecture in those STEM classrooms. And what that really means is each lecture is a project in and of itself to break apart, right? Just like how a chapter of a book can be, but um, it also is an opportunity to reflect on some of my beliefs about that content, about that information, about the knowledge that the professor is professing to us. It's an opportunity to challenge some of my attitudes that I have about that material, right? And then hopefully I allow my behavior to drive my learning and not just, get too stuck in the hypothetical of like, you know, believing this or attitudes about this. And then ultimately, then we can transition into formulating kernels of knowledge, right? Like we can create a second brain for ourselves that we can then leverage to empower others. We can leverage to potentially make a living. Um, all of that, all of that is like learning encompassed.